thank you so much for coming. We have a great turnout, and we're really excited because this is our first ever UC Open, our first chance to introduce everybody, both from UC and elsewhere, to the open source program office network that we're building here at the University of California. And we'll hope for the next couple of days that you'll get a chance to see some of this cool stuff that we're trying to do, meet some new people, build our open source community around the system as everybody slowly comes in. We weren't sure how many people were going to show up at any given moment, so I hope if there isn't enough space, feel free to spread out to those tables, and we can bring some extra chairs in as well, so we do have extra space over there. So welcome. I am Stephanie Luigi. I am at UC Santa Cruz. I'm the executive director at the Center for Research in Open Source Software, and I'm also leading our effort with regards to the open source program office on our campus. First off, who we are quickly, so that you know why you're here. I'm going to have, in a second, everybody who's everybody who's part of the network stand up. I'm going to give you a second to get ready. So we are really excited. We have 6 campuses now, thanks to a great grant from the Sloan Foundation, and where we're hoping to work with people from all of UC, as well as people from outside of UC who want to collaborate with us. I also am happy to hear that we have one CSU person who's thinking about creating an OSPO. Edmund from Cal Poly is here, so that's awesome. So please, people chat with him from our network as well. So for people from industry know what I mean when I say OSPOs, and so there's a couple people here who can probably explain this better than me. But in industry, OSPOs really serve as a center of competency for working with open source. So we have a collaboration, how to contribute to open source, or how to support open source projects that impact your business. That's where OSPOs work in industry. But it's a relatively new idea in academia. So our OSPOs at UC effort started, really about 2020 when we at UCSC were looking at it. In 2022, we got our first grant to work on creating an OSPO at UCSC. And part of that effort, then that Sloan Foundation grant, also included an effort to start bringing it into the UC system. So we had already started that kind of process, or looking into that process, in 2022. In 2024, I got together with a number of the really cool people in this room, and we started working together on a larger effort that Sloan also is supporting for the UC system. Now, this is the point where I want everybody who is a UC network member to stand up so people know who you are to ask questions. Emily, everybody wave. These are your people. And we have at least one person from each campus. I think we're missing Vladimir, so he's our data person. But we also have Laura, and Laura, can you stand up? You're important. She's our community manager for the whole system, so she's also a really important person to know. So each of the campuses on this list are represented here. If you want to talk to people from your campus, find them, and I'll have to try. They'll be introduced throughout this process, throughout the day. If your campus, there's another San Francisco here. I think there's a few Merced folks coming up. If you're interested in working with us, contact me, contact Laura, or contact any of the folks that just stood up. And just so you know why is this happening? Well, there's actually a real push for academic OSPOs. There's a help largely by the Sloan Foundation, and particularly Josh Greenberg, who's from the Sloan Foundation. There is a proliferation of academic OSPOs. This is a list from earlier. I think we actually added 2 to this group. This is our kind of, Curious is a network of academic OSPOs that our network is also a part of. And UCSC was one of the first 6. And then so now we're getting to be, I think, a pretty good number. And even of this number, these are the ones where they call themselves OSPOs. There's also a lot of folks who are collaborating with that are not specifically OSPOs, but are doing OSPO-like efforts. So what are we doing here, and what is the difference between maybe an industry OSPO and an academic OSPO? Really, I think a lot of it has to do with what our goals are as an organization. A lot of it is to make sure our research has impact. But these are all the different things. And again, I stole this from Curious. These are all the different things that an OSPO could possibly do. Not all OSPOs are not meant to do all of them. The beauty of doing a UC network of OSPOs is that each campus kind of has their excellence, so their area that they're specifically working on. So we don't all have to do the same thing, but we come together through the network to kind of be able to leverage all of our expertise and help the whole system, including our local campuses. So that's really the exciting part, I think, about this particular effort that we're doing right now. So again, we're going to talk about this type of stuff throughout the next 2 days. So hopefully each session has a little bit that you can kind of see where an OSPO is useful or where open source may be able to help you in the work that you are doing. So again, this is our structure. Again, everybody who stood up is part of this leadership group that we've created to kind of manage this project and hopefully manage the network in the long term. And we have working groups that are particularly focused on 3 themes that we have, and these are the 3 themes. Now, the sustainability theme actually has a whole session tomorrow on it. It's really cool, a lot of the work that the sustainability group has been doing. I will be, the discovery and education will be discussed in some of the panels for tomorrow, but I'll also want to point out people like, where is Juanita? Oh, there she is. Juanita is working as a big help in our discovery where we're actually trying to find all of the open source in UC and everybody that's working in open source in UC so that we can figure out the best way to support them and I'll just show the impact and the value of open source to our system, our education folks. Emily, and by the way, there's more than just her working on the discovery, but she's the one that's working on the specific tool that we're using. Juanita is. Emily, Tim, raise your hand. Emily, Tim, and Todd. Tim's way over there, Todd's over there. If you're interested in education related, so hackathons, training and open source, course materials, you name it, those 3 are the ones that are part of our working group, and again, we'll be highlighting some of their work later. And sustainability, like I said, has a whole session on it. So what we want to do as a community, I want to speed up so I know where we're going, but a lot of what we're trying to do is get collaboration with our campus communities, identify who our partners can be, who the stakeholders we can help are, and looking for the wider community, so not just within the campuses, but also with the communities that we are centered in, so it could make it and also pushing it to be more of a statewide activity. And lastly, I just wanted to highlight that what I'm really welcoming all of the folks from industry who are here, because I think that we have discovered, at least at UCSC, and I'll talk about that a little bit in the next panel, that we have worked a lot with industry in the open source setting, and I want to thank for particularly we can see with the great support we've had from like Red Hat and GitHub and other industry, particularly for this session, for this event. And again, this is the schedule for today, and with that, I'm going to move it to the welcoming remarks by our dean. And I want to thank everyone from Baskin Engineering in particular. So we have our sponsors who have come in just for this event, but Baskin has been really the heart of the work that we're doing. And this is a great facility that it's part of UCSC in general, but Baskin is a really big part of this particular facility here in Silicon Valley. So I want to really thank the dean and everyone else here at Baskin who's been super helpful, Fisher, who will be jumping up and down to move slides around. So I'm going to move it over now to Alex, and I would like to introduce Alex Wolf, the dean of Baskin Engineering, to give us the welcoming remarks.
Thank you, Stephanie, and welcome everyone here. I'm sorry that kind of the center of speaking gravity is over here, and there's so many people over there. But I see you. You are seen. So welcome to this great event. Welcome to UC Santa Cruz. Welcome to the Silicon Valley campus, where we some of you may not know that we have faculty. We have PhD students, we have postdocs, we have graduate programs here, resident here from Baskin Engineering on 2 floors. I invite you to visit sometime. But I am a computer science professor as well, and so this is my community. You're my people. I understand you, and that's not always the case when I give a welcome address at an engineering event. But so this one feels particularly good. Open source has always been kind of in my mind, and an experience that I've gone through in my career. I will reveal that I got my PhD in 1985, 40 years ago, so that places me in a particular era of that world. But my personal story about it is that I was very much of an open source skeptic. I was a long-time DARPA contractor as a professor, and the struggle in DARPA was always this, the hardware-software battle. They had this mistaken impression that a fighter jet was anything more than a flying computer, right? That's what it is. It's a flying computer. And they didn't understand that. And so to get money to support the software development process was always this huge struggle. And then this thing called open source came along that said, software is free. It's open. People are contributing to it voluntarily. And what it did was it gave people the impression that software actually had no value. And I bought into that misconception myself because I was engaged in this struggle. So it took a while for me to realize that actually it has incredible value. And that it has an ecosystem which is in the world, which is unique in how it develops new ideas and puts those ideas into practice. So it's been a journey for me. I'll also mention that when something's successful when people start stealing the word open, right? So when I was president of the ACM, it was the time when open access started. And then open science. And there I was in ACM struggling again with this open concept, which was saying, well, publication has no value. There's nothing to pay for. You shouldn't have to pay for it. The scientific results that we struggle to develop, they should be open. And there's, how do you value that, right? So there's a struggle there, and it's just continuing on and on and on. And it's so interesting to me. Anyway, I want to say a few other things. I want to point out that Baskin Engineering started in 1997, actually, but it has its roots in a computer science department that was formed in 1967 at the UCSC campus. And as I like to do, I like to tweak the nose of our Berkeley friends and say that was 1 year before the Berkeley Computer Science Department was created. But some of you may know about SCO, the Santa Cruz operation, and that was a company that was co-founded by one of our graduates in 1979, and it was promoting the idea of open systems. So, very early on, this notion of open has been part of the Baskin Engineering ethos. In 2000, another real milestone, in 2000, July 7th, 2000, the first assembly of the human genome was published as open information, which was a remarkable thing because there was a competition with a company who, if they had won this competition, they would have patented the human genome, right? And it would have been a product that they owned for a certain period of time. And instead, by just a few days, the folks at David Hausler, Jim Kent, put it up online and developed something called the Genome Browser, which has been an open platform for sharing genomic data, which has supported science, incredible scientific discoveries. So, when we talk about open at Baskin Engineering, at UC Santa Cruz, this is something that we've been doing for decades and decades. And of course, the fantastic work of CROSS, the fantastic work that has led to in the OSPOs. Stephanie didn't say this, but UC Santa Cruz was one of the first 6, but it was also the first public university that was a member of the OSPO family. So I'm really, incredibly excited about this work and this event. I want to thank Stephanie. I want to thank James. I think, their leadership has been really, really instrumental in elevating what is an important mission for the UCs here. And I'm really pleased to see how many people are joining and interested in this mission. So I wish you a great event, and thank you again very, very much.